Gi-hun could have been able to halt the games if he had been more ready for his comeback. Instead, he failed to save the lives of the several candidates who would unavoidably be cast, despite his entire objective being to stop the misery. Thankfully, he was able to save one infant and possibly demonstrate that people can be kind. The responses to the third season of Squid Game may not be quite what Netflix had hoped for. Squid Game Season 3 begins with a lethal game of hide-and-seek, and the protagonist Gi-hun, Jung-jae, is horrified by the way things have turned out following the failed rebellion and attempt to shut down the games in the Season 2 finale. Gi-hun appears to have begun to embrace the frontman's, Lee Byung-hun, pessimistic outlook, but he quickly finds a cause for which he sacrifices himself in the final moments of Squid Game Season 3. The death of Gi-hun, the terrible endings of other characters, and the suggestion that the games will continue in America, which was established by Cate Blanchett's Squid Game cameo, are among the aspects of the last season that many are currently questioning. See their responses below. Most people are upset at the deaths of their favorite Squid Game characters, especially Hyunju, Park Sung-hoon, the sole significant LGBTQ+ character in the series. However, Seokki mourns the passing of the close-knit and protective three of Jung-jae, Kang Ae-shim, Jun-hee, Jo Uri, and Hyunju. But, as Antag 0 NIST 4 points out, the horrifying nature of these fatalities emphasizes the show's subject of the harsh gaming system, in which the wealthy take advantage of the poor. Although it's normal to get angry, this series makes it almost inevitable. In addition to being a strong candidate for the most despised character of Season 3, Myung-gi, Yim Si-wn, is praised by Rayanalif for his portrayal of a person who believes they have good intentions but is completely corrupted by the games. However, others view the last scene in Squid Game with Cate Blanchett as a cash grab for an American Squid Game rather than a sophisticated example of how the games recover. Rotten Tomatoes ratings for Squid Game Season 3 also show that it is having trouble living up to the first two appearances. When viewers had more time to develop an emotional bond with this group of characters, the majority of the identified players survived the second season. Squid Game Seasons 2 and 3 were on the verge of seeing bigger fan reactions to character deaths. Though the deaths of the characters are undoubtedly a central theme of Squid Game Season 3, people's grievances about the show go beyond this. People will wonder what the point of it all was when the show ends so tragically and the games end up going one, as if to support the release of David Fincher's English-language Squid Game series. But this is by no means the worst season finale we have ever witnessed, nor the most significant aftermath of a dismal conclusion. The intensity and tension were mostly maintained until the very end of Squid Game's last season, and even a few weak storylines at the end are enough to reverse the series' negative effects on Netflix. Thank you for viewing, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.